So far in this series on advanced principles in golf instruction, we've talked about syllabus, which, like any syllabus, is just a list of stuff one plans on teaching. Or in our case, all the stuff one is capable of teaching, which, for the average golf instructor, can be a pretty long list. But breaking it down into categories does two very valuable things. It allows the instructor to, one, see the big picture, and two, understand how all the parts relate to each other. A really good syllabus puts all of golf's problems and all of golf's solutions right at the instructor's fingertips. Our second principle we called significance, which refers to the fact that a really good instructor knows what is more important and what is less important all the way up and down the line. A good instructor also knows how much something affects a golfer's game and what part of a golfer's game it affects. The principle we're going to talk about this time we'll call sequence. And it just means teaching stuff in the right order. Now, you may not have heard a whole lot about this one or even thought about it all that much. And we didn't either until it jumped up and bit us. You'll recall that in our section on significance, we said that the two most important factors for middle handicappers were clubhead speed and swing path. Clubhead speed and swing path, and they are. So we developed a program for middle handicappers to work intensively on those two things. And we started them off with clubhead speed, and we had the students work for a week, and then we introduced swing path. But for a lot of golfers, we had to start over again. That's because some of the students in that week of working on clubhead speed developed some tendencies that made it harder for them to swing in the right direction. So the next time we ran the program, we reversed the order, and we got done a lot sooner. So we learned the hard way that yes, you can teach the right stuff in the wrong order. And since then, we've experienced many examples of teaching stuff in the wrong order. Take, for instance, ball position. Now, every instructor has had a student come up to him and say, with this club I got here, where should the ball be in my stance? Where should the ball be relative to my feet? Should the ball be off my front foot? Should it be off my back foot? Should it be in the middle? Should it be off my heel? Where should the ball be? The answer is, depends on what your body's going to do when you swing. A golfer who uses a lot of leg action or allows the momentum to carry him forward during the swing will tend to go through the grass up by his front foot. But if he stiffens up and fights the momentum, then he'll bottom him out back here by his back foot. So even something that sounds like it should be fairly straightforward, like where should the ball be in my stance, the answer is depends on what your body's going to do when you swing. If we have to guess what your body's going to do and we guess wrong, we could really screw you up. Also, the club will stop coming down and start going up right when it passes the hands. You can see as the club goes down, as soon as it passes my hands, it starts coming up. If the club passes my hands back here, it starts coming up back here. If the club passes my hands up here, then it starts coming up there. So not only body motion, but also wrist action affects where the bottom of your swing is. Not to mention such things as bobbing and weaving, losing your balance, all affect where the bottom of the swing is. So before a golfer is really ready to worry about ball position, let's just say he's got other fish to fry. Also, we found that the golfers who tend to ask where the ball should be in their stance, invariably these are the same golfers where the bottom of their swing is in a different place every time they swing. Now, if the bottom of your swing is a different place every time you swing, then where should you play the ball in your stance? What is this, psychic hotline? How do we know? Now, if a golfer is not really ready to worry about ball position, what about contact itself? Think about it. You want to work on contact before you even know where the ball should be? The problem with that is this. Most golfers want to work on contact right away. In fact, that's the first thing they want to work on. They say, I just want to hit the ball solid all the time, and then I'll work on whatever's next. Well, they never get to step next because they never finish step one. And we can usually identify a golfer who focuses on contact a little prematurely. That's because they invariably fail to develop other habits necessary for their development. They get to the point where they hit the ball solid on occasion, but then every time they change their swing, they have to find the ball again. And they wonder why they spin their wheels for years and years. Here's a tip. The best time to work on a golfer's contact is after you're convinced you don't have to change your swing when they start hitting it. Our next principle is called pace, and that just means teaching at the right pace. And pace refers to the amount of time between topics, the amount of time between drills, the amount of time between sessions, the amount of time between things that you're working on, the amount of time between little nuggets of advice from the instructor. The problem with this one is that both the teacher and the student want to get this done as soon as possible. The golfer wants to get good as soon as possible. The teacher wants the golfer to get good as soon as possible. But unloading 37 different things on a student in a short period of time does not speed up the process. In fact, it slows it down. We have found that the number of things a golfer can work on at any one time, or even think of for that matter, is somewhere between 0 and 1, which means 1 is pushing it. So what is the right pace? Well, you'll recall that in our program for middle handicappers on swing path and clubhead speed, we spent a week between introducing those two concepts. And that was certainly none too slow. In fact, that was rushing it. That required a serious student. But pace really depends on what you're working on. Some things in golf take 5 minutes, some things take several weeks. Ideally, the pace of the instruction should match the pace of the learning. The overriding principle is whatever's best for the student. In fact, that's the overriding principle for all instruction, is whatever's best for the student's development. Let me pause here and make a quick comment about what I call media instruction. Media instruction is instruction that you get from the internet, or from TV, or from books, or from magazines, or from your buddies. And this is how most golfers get most of their information. In fact, all golfers get most of their information from these sources. Even golfers who take golf lessons regularly from a really good instructor still get most of their information from these media sources. And these media source instructions come with no rhyme or reason to them. The pace is random, the order has no particular structure to it. There's no appropriateness to the student. It's all a random walk. That's why pace and sequence are advanced principles, because they are contrary to how most golfers get their information. And that's why we stress sequence and pace to the instructors that we take under our wing. If you have any comments or questions, just put them in the comment section below. If you're an instructor, we'd really like to hear from you. Our goal in this series is to promote and to encourage the next generation of instructors. So anything we can do for you or for your career, please let us know. If you are an avid student of the game, same thing. We'd like to hear from you. You're our kind of golfer. So we'd like to hear from you, and we'd like to hear about you. In any case, please join us next time for another edition of Super Coach.